everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So I have moved my frame over again. As you can see, I am done the fence post that is in this pass. I'm now working on the area that is sort of between it and where the peahen's wings start. Yeah, so working on some darker colors today. As you can see, I followed the shape of the fence post, so we've got this indentation in here that I'm just filling in, and it kind of cuts off right about there as the peahen's wing and tail intersect across it like that. So, yeah, not diagonal today. Turned out a little differently because of the shape of the motifs across the pattern. So yeah, hard to believe we are at the end of another month. That flew on by. And I did make the 8,000 this month that I usually do. I passed that now because yeah, that was about 213 and like 100 something stitches would have been. So yeah, I'm a little bit past that. So as I say, going at that rate, I'll probably be done by end of next April is the hope. So yeah, we'll see how close I get to that. All right. So yeah, as usual, I said because I'm not working diagonally, it does kind of close in a bit here as I kind of work around this curve as the colors kind of curve around there, but that's okay, I don't mind. That is how I felt like working. Yeah, the snow is all gone except for the little piles of it that are still in the parking lots. Yeah, those always seem to take an extra month to melt. They get insulated because they're covered in dirt. Yeah, I had to stop some kids from trying to sled down them one day because I said, you're in a parking lot and you'll go flying a lot faster than you expect, and I don't want you to slide under someone's car. Ugh. They probably weren't happy with me, but yeah, I mean, I had to do something. I would hate to have not, and there been a tragedy. Yeah, we have some sledding hills in town that are specifically for that. You got to use those, although of course they don't have snow on them right now. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a little bit of flowers here, and I think a lot of leaves sort of in the shadowy bit between, yeah, between the fence post and the peahen's feathers. Yeah, so she's going to be quite confetti heavy. So yeah, I'm thinking we'll get her done in the next month, in May. Yeah, and probably be working into that big pink flower in the middle of this pass is probably where I'm going to get. Now that part, yeah, the wings and stuff is pretty confetti heavy. The flowers are quite big blocks, so yeah, it'll kind of even out, I think. So end of the summer, I should have this pass completed because I've been managing about 4 months, 3.5 to 4 months per pass. So yeah, mid to end of summer is then it should be done. But yeah, as I often say, I don't set the goals because I just get stressed out and I don't want that. Yeah, so I apologize in advance. Again, my throat is a little bit sore this morning, so I will probably not be talking as much. Yeah, some birds woke me up very early this morning. They were extremely loud today. 5 a.m. Yeah. And I am not a 5 a.m. person. There was a line in, I think it was MASH, and Charles says, I only acknowledge 1 of 5 o'clock per day, and this is not it. It's like, yes, my sentiments exactly. So yeah, I had to turn up my brown noise very loud to drown them out. And even then, yeah, some of the notes they sang were at like very, very piercing. So I could still hear them a bit. Yeah, it was not good. Yeah, I don't know how people don't sleep with like earplugs or some kind of, because my hearing is way too keen for that. I hear every little thing. Yeah, and for some reason my phone didn't charge. I think the charger came loose. So I woke up this morning, there was like 30% battery left. And yeah, I said actually not bad considering that that's what I used to play the brown noise, so it was running all night. So I have shelled out for the YouTube Premium, so the screen is not on. So that, of course, helps preserve the battery a bit. It can play in the background, but yeah. I mean, you have that running for 8 hours. It does eat up a lot of battery. Well, I said I was fortunate. I didn't have to go anywhere. So I could stay home and charge my phone. Although I do have a couple of those portable power banks that you can, yeah. So, and sort of once a month I try to remember to drain them and recharge them so that they stay, yeah, nicely ready to go in case of emergency. I can grab one and have a backup, because I mean I have a car charger, but sometimes you have to you can't be in your car the whole time either, and I definitely don't want to leave a phone in the car. That's just, yeah, might as well put a sign on your car saying please break in. Oh gosh, it was funny, somebody said they were parking their car in some like higher crime area one night. They had to, and so they put like a note saying, you know, no valuables in the trunk or the glove box and stuff, and someone broke in anyway and then scrawled on the note, just checking. So they were hoping to yeah, avoid getting made a target of, but it did not work. Yeah, there actually was a tip I remember reading years ago saying to like leave your glove box open and empty to show that there's nothing hidden in there that's worth stealing. Yeah, so I don't know if that would actually work, but yeah. Well, so far, knock on wood, nobody has ever broken into my car, probably because I don't drive anything flashy or brand new, so yeah. It's less of a target. Okay. So yeah, as I said, so working some from the top and some from the side here, just as usual, growing out from where I have already stitched until it's all filled in. As you can see, there are a lot of pin stitches here, so there was a lot of colors ending because of this fence post, yeah. Ending. Oh, that is not good. There we go. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, 327. Just kind of looking around and seeing how I want to, what strands I want to use where. Yeah, so didn't reach 70%, but I didn't think I would. But yeah, that means I will probably reach 3/4 done by the end of June because I've been managing about 3% or so per month. It's sort of like 2.8% or something like that, yeah. Because 3% is like 9,000 something, and I've been managing about 8,000, so yeah, you do the math. Because I suck at it. So the peahen will not be finished in this pass. There's a little bit of her tail feathers that extend past, yeah, line 440. Okay. This is a super bright color here. Yeah, one of the newer colors, although I say that, but actually it's been a few years since they've been out now. Yeah, so no more zeros yet. I think there are a couple more later in this pass, but yeah, not very many. As usual, the zeros will really start coming when we get to the last pass. Oh dear. Yeah, I'll have to go for a walk to wake myself up. It's lovely outside, so. Usually try not to stitch over my grid lines, but oh well. There's plenty of it still showing, so. even when I stitch over them completely, I've never had a problem removing them because of, yeah. The sulky thread is really good for that. Never gets snagged. Oops. Yeah, there's a lot of that 939 there. Yeah, still quite a lot of this burgundy color. Which, like I said, looking at the mock-up, I never would have expected, but it works. Yeah, I've been happy with how it's been stitching up. Okay, so back to that. We are now under 10,000 stitches of this color left. Oh dear. Sorry about that. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. It's making noise. There we go. Yeah, I'm using my old phone as my camera because my new one, I don't know, the picture didn't seem to be, like I was saying before, I think it might have almost been oversensitive, and so the focus was changing quite a lot. Because, like I say, because my hands are above the work, yeah. Sometimes it's like it doesn't know what to focus on, and yeah, so I went back to the old one. That seemed to give me a better picture, so. Yeah, I wiped my old phone and I'm using it as just a camera now. Usually I send them to be recycled, but yeah. This one I decided I had a use for it. Some people say too you can use your old ones as security cameras. Yeah, just, you know, keep them plugged in, connect them to a Wi-Fi, and they can, so it can be a way to repurpose them so they don't get wasted. Or for a while before my kiddo got his own phone, we would, yeah, give him an old one so that he could use it for playing games and stuff. Just basic stuff. Yeah, it was funny because somebody said their kids were asking them, well, Mom, if you guys didn't have phones, how did you, you know, coordinate like getting rides from your parents? Somebody's like, yeah, you had to make a choice ahead of time. I'll pick you up at such and such a place at such and such a time. If you don't show up, you're in trouble. He said, yeah, or a lot of those collect calls, you know. Yeah, you have a collect call from pick me up at the mall. Or my husband said he had a few times because he had a gas gauge on his car that wasn't always reliable, so he'd run out of gas, and yeah, you have to say, you know, out of gas at whatever it was, so they would come and get him. But he said, yeah, somebody wasn't always home, so sometimes it ended up you had to walk through to the gas station. Yeah, get a jerry can and walk all the way back. Okay. Yeah, so I probably won't fill in this whole area today because that's a few hundred stitches, but we'll get a good chunk of it done. And then, yeah, it's going to be time to do the update and show you guys the whole thing. Another end trying to come up for the ride here. There we go. All right, so I remember there's a short one here. Yeah. So I'm going to do that one first and tie it off. As you can tell, I'm not alone in my house today. Yeah, that's when I try to do my filming, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So yeah, as you can see, there's a big section all of one color there. So like that always goes a little faster. I sometimes try to kind of break those up. So I'll do sort of one row of the big section, a couple of little, other colors, another row of the big section. That way I don't get repetitive stress. Because yeah, I unfortunately can get that quite easily and I have to be careful. Yeah, I could never do, I've seen some people, they can do like, 1,500 stitches a day. I couldn't do that. My arms would be screaming at me. Okay, so I'm going to have a couple of threads here of this color. I can see that now, the way it kind of just branches off. Put that there. Oops, darn it. So yeah, these darker colors show a bit more with the pin stitches, but I know that this whole area here is dark colors, so it'll get covered up. Won't be a problem. Okay, so then switch to this one. See how long this one is, what I can do with it. Yeah, not terribly. I think this will just be long enough to do this row. Yeah, so the length of the thread that I have already attached is generally the biggest factor in what I decide to do with it, where I decide to travel it and park it and all that. Oh, we're past 100 already. Yeah, that went pretty quick. Yeah, that worked out pretty perfect. Love when that happens. Okay, so I'm going to work from the left side out rather than the right side in. Okay. So fill in a couple other colors here. Try that again. There we are. Oh, that's not right. Yep, could feel that snagged. There we go. I could hear it as well. Yeah, nice and smooth again. Okay, start another strand of this color. Okay, so now back to this color. So yeah, this is how I sort of break up the big block there. Keeps me from getting bored as well. Oops. There we go. So we might make 200 stitches in this hour. We'll see. It's going at a pretty good pace this time. But yeah, I often say those little breaks in between for me to switch colors and thread needles and stuff. Yeah, kind of helps make sure I don't overdo it and end up with pain. So sort of, I could do the next row under this one immediately, but I'm going to switch colors. Give my arms a break. So park that there, and then, yeah, switch to another color. Yeah, I discovered that once. I did 1,000 stitches in a day, but it was confetti, and my arms were fine. And then another day I did close to 1,000 stitches, but they were all one color in one block. And yeah, the next day my arms were burning, so. Let's start another thread that color. Yeah, because it kind of goes around this little motif there, probably a flower. So that is how I do it. Okay, then back to this color. So yeah, it may not look like much, but I have found those little breaks do make a difference. me make my cutoff about here for now at this grid line. Just unthread anything that's sort of below that line for now. Get back to it later. How did that happen? Darn, I hate when that happens. It got tied a knot in it. Rats. Okay. Oh well, that's okay. Actually works out kind of well. I can just do this one stitch and tie it off instead of carrying it over. So it's never a convenient time to get a knot, but sometimes are more inconvenient than others. So I mean, I guess unless you're doing embroidery with French knots, which I could never manage. Yeah, I can tie knots with my thread when I don't want it to. But yeah, when I actually had to try to form a knot, it wouldn't do it. 200 exactly. Nice. Okay, so this color again kind of goes around those colors there, but I think I can manage it with one thread for now. My last few strands of thread in that envelope, so time to get a new skein for it. Oops, darn it. Hate when that happens, accidentally unthreaded my needle. Okay. Oh, I think I pierced that in the wrong spot. Yeah, that isn't quite right. That's why that felt wrong when I was pulling it through, yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to finish off this row, and then that's going to be where I take a break for today. There, so 229. Yeah, that's pretty good progress for an hour. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone.